To get this one over the line, but Enzo Maresca is set to be announced as the new Chelsea head coach today on a 5-year contract.
Maresca was Chelsea's #1 choice on a shortlist that included Thomas Frank, Kieran McKenna and Roberto De Zerbi. Chelsea co-sporting directors Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart were entrusted by co-owners Bedad Iqbali and Todd Burley to lead the recruitment process. Maresca impressed during talks because of his depth and breadth of knowledge of the Chelsea squad and youth players as well, and his single-minded focus on the way that they want to play. Maresca is bringing 6 members of his backroom staff with him from Leicester, including the former Chelsea goalkeeper, Willy Caballero.
Of illegal payments, damaging defeat to Newcastle in the league, Reece James, an injury to him, then a humbling in the Champions League against PSG. And given all the outside noise, do you think there's a bit of a danger that the outside influences are kind of going to be blamed on the manner of defeat to PSG, or do you think there actually is going to be some real concern at how they really fell apart against an elite side?
I think that there'll be concern just
purely from the fact that we done so well in the first game, where when it was 2-2, it looked like that we was maybe going to be the team to get the third goal, and then obviously a mistake led to us maybe capitulating a little bit too easy, which would have been a problem. And then I know it was 3-0 last night. I actually don't think that we were maybe as bad as kind of a 3-0 suggests. But I think it's when you're trying to come back from such a deficit and then you're giving away an early goal, which is another mistake, and then we don't really kind of recover from that. I think it's one of those, there's no shame in losing to PSG. They're one of the best teams in Europe, albeit I think one of the things that probably doesn't help is that we gave them a hiding in the Club World Cup and we done really well. And as I said, we done really well up until the third goal in the first leg. So it doesn't help, but at the same time, I think it's a little bit of the culmination of what's gone on during the week that it just compounds silly little huddles and respecting the ball and all this stuff. And then you've got the...
You don't like the huddle?
No, I mean, listen, you can have a huddle wherever you like, but just don't do it surrounding a referee and supposedly respecting the ball.
Yeah, it was a moment that lives long in the memory, quite frankly, certainly for Paul Tierney there in the middle of that huddle. Look, do you feel that the man in the middle here, Liam Rosenior, is he trying to sort of implement too much too quickly? Or, you know, in terms of Michael Carrick, what we're witnessing at Manchester United, it seems quite simple and it's working. So where do you stand on that?
I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say it's him trying to implement too much. I think the bottom line is we're probably going through the worst spell he's had since he's been there as far as results.
Yeah.
But in fairness to us as a club, even though he was getting good results at the beginning, I didn't see that there was much of a change from the performance aspect of things from Maresca to Liam.
Right.
I felt that we was maybe making a lot of changes during the games, which was actually helping us get over the line, which maybe Maresca wasn't doing. But as far as us performing to the level that I think we're capable of, I still don't think, even though we was getting good results, I don't think that our performance levels were great. I think we got over the line in a few games. And obviously when we've had to play sort of better opposition, a lot of the results that we got were teams in the bottom 6. When we've played better opposition, we haven't quite looked like a team that can maybe challenge that, which I think was one of the things that I think Enzo could probably, you look back at that and Enzo had challenged some of the bigger teams and performed really well, where at the moment we haven't quite got that. But like I said, I don't think too much should be heaped and sort of put on Liam and the players at the moment just for losing against PSG. I think the problem is it comes off the back of a loss to Newcastle and then previously losing before that, and then you now go, the big game is Everton at the weekend.
Yeah, it is, certainly. I mean, in terms of losing as well, it was at the Bridge, they were at home, they did the huddle and everything, kind of, nobody would have expected them to lose that game, but they did. They dropped points in those Champions League places. If they don't make the Champions League for next season, is his job at risk at all?
I mean, I don't know. It seems that he's got a very good relationship with the owners and the people higher up at the club. So I wouldn't imagine that is something that they're thinking about. But we don't know how they react to not qualifying to the Champions League. It's kind of unheard of territory at the moment. Do you know what I mean? So I wouldn't like to see anybody being looked at for their job when he's been in it for such a short amount of time. But obviously at a club like Chelsea, if you're not getting into the Champions League space, places, then there'll obviously be questions to answer, I think. But whether that leads to people talking about his job or not is another question.
Yeah, I hear you. We're going to break away. In terms of what we witnessed last night, we saw a lot of fans leaving. Do you think there is a slight growing apathy in terms of Chelsea fans at the moment, in terms of their club?
Yeah, I think so, unfortunately. Knowing quite a lot of Chelsea fans myself, my friends, there has been a kind of nagging thing going on behind the scenes where they're maybe not understanding what the project is or what the long-term view is from the club. And I think they struggle to understand at times as well, which is, if we want to get to the level that Chelsea are used to being at, can you do that by just only signing players that are under 25 and maybe just kind of signing potential? Do you know what I mean? So I think they're the type of questions that a lot of Chelsea fans are asking at the moment, and probably why you're hearing the frustrations coming out quite more than usual at Stamford Bridge. Because, at the moment, when they're having those feelings, it's becoming abundantly clear on match day, particularly when the team's not playing well, that you can hear the frustrations, and it's not a great place to play when it's like that. Yeah,
it's interesting, isn't it? You talk about that, that plan isn't working. Do the senior leaders and the management team need to kind of cotton on to the fact that the Chelsea fans think the plan isn't working and do something about it and react to it?
I'm not sure that they would do that just because the fans are maybe not agreeing with it. I think that if they believe that this is the way that they want to run the football club, and then I suppose that they'll stick to that. Whether that means that you might get a protest or you might hear the moans and groans from the fans, whether that will then come into play a little bit more. I imagine if you wasn't qualifying for a Champions League and add to the fact that you can tell that the fans are maybe not as happy as you